Yeah, she has it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Okay. Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here. Let's begin. We have 4 committee members present today, so we have met quorum. Secretary Treasurer, do we have any updates?
Mr. Mario Rossetti, sent his regrets.
Okay, thank you. We have a motion on the floor to declare today's meeting for the municipality of Sioux Committee of Adjustment Consent Granting Authority open and called to order. I need that motion to be moved by one of my committee members. Luke, okay,
I'm doing that.
and seconded. Thank you, Roger. Luke and Roger.
All in favor?
The committee of, all in favor? The Committee of Adjustment meeting of June the 1st be declared open and called to order at 5:03 p.m. All those in favor? Okay, and it's carried. There is a motion on the floor to excuse Mario Rossetti from today's meeting. Is there a mover, Luke, and a seconder, Roger? Thank you. The motion on the floor is that Mario Rossetti be excused from the June 1st meeting. All those in favor?
It's June 2nd.
June 2nd meeting, all those in favor? Okay, carried. An agenda for the Committee of Adjustment Consent Granting Authority meeting of June the 2nd has been provided to us. Are there any issues or concerns with the agenda before we put a motion on the floor to accept this agenda as submitted? Okay. Okay. The motion on the floor is, where's the motion? Right here. There's no comments, so all in favor?
I think we have to move in second.
Okay, well, it doesn't say that.
Yeah.
Do I have, can we have someone to move the first? Move? Luke?
Roger. Oh, Luke.
Roger? And all in favor? Okay, carried. Before us, we have previous minutes from our,
So we have to read the disclosure of pecuniary interest, since some of this is concerned.
disclosure of pecuniary interest and the general nature thereof. Is there anything to report here?
Councilor Luke mentioned that he has a pecuniary interest on the minor variance application M01-2025. And our deputy chair, Lana Pizio, also disclosed that she has pecuniary interest with regards to the consent application C06-2025.
Before us, we have previous minutes from our last meeting dated February the 18th, 2025. Everyone has had a chance to look at these minutes. Are there any concerns, corrections, or discussion required? No, okay. We have a motion on the floor, moved by Luke and seconded by Roger, that the minutes of the meeting of February 18th, 2025 be adopted as presented. All in favor? Okay, carried. Business from previous minutes, we don't have.
Yeah, that's not.
There's none, okay. And delegations?
That's not.
As the chair, I would like to announce that this is a public meeting to hear comments on a consent application. The committee will hear comments and evaluate written submissions. The committee makes the final decision. There is a 20-day appeal period from the date of the giving of the notice of decision. The applicant, minister, or a specified person or public body may appeal the decision and/or any condition imposed by filing a notice of appeal accompanied by the required fee with the municipal clerk. The appeal will be forwarded to the Ontario Land Tribunal for review. We also have a minor variance application. The committee will hear comments and evaluate written submissions. The committee makes the final decision. There is a 20-day appeal period from the date of the decision. The applicant, minister, or a specified person or public body that has an interest in the matter may appeal the decision made by the committee by filing a notice of appeal in writing to the secretary treasurer of the committee and attaching the fee required for the appeal. The appeal will be forwarded to the Ontario Land Tribunal for review. Okay. The first application we have before us is a this one, right?
Yeah,
CO3. Okay.
yeah, 25.
Okay. The first application we have before us. Found on agenda.
It's up here, if you want to see.
Oh, okay. Is it the same as this?
The consent application CO3-2025 received from Jody Moran on behalf of Anderson's Lodge for the subject lands legally described as PTLT 29 CONB D Drayton DES Part 3 Plan 23R 15200 Sioux Lookout SRO PT location CL 11977 Drayton being PTLT 29 CONB Drayton DES Parts 5 and 6 Plan 23R 15200 Sioux Lookout and PTLT 29 CONB Drayton DES Part 7 Plan 23R 15200 Sioux Lookout.
So we have three consent applications in this area and they're all related. So we prepared one report for them. So if you can kindly go ahead and also read for C04 as well as C05, that'll be tough and then I'll present the sum.
Okay. 9.2.
Pardon?
9.2.
Okay, consent application C05-2025 received.
C04.
Consent application C04-2025 received from Jody Moran for the subject lands legally described as PTLT 29 CONB Drayton DES Part 1 23R 15200 Sioux Lookout and SRO PT location CL 11977 Drayton being PTLT 29 CONB Drayton DES Part 4 Plan 23R 15200 Sioux Lookout.
C05.
Okay. Consent application C05-2025 received from Jacqueline Duhamel for the subject legally described as CONB PT Lot 29 and LOC CL 14651 RP 23R 7760 Part 3 RP 23R 11490 Part 1 English River, Drayton Road Township. The purpose and effect of consent. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. Three separate consent applications have been submitted by Anderson Lodge Limited. Subject of C03-2025. Jody Morin, subject of C04-2025, and Jacqueline Duhamel, C05-2025, to register easements over an existing private road to provide legal access to the subject properties. The subject properties are located at the end of an unnamed private road off Pelican Falls Road and are located on the shoreline of English River. Lot. Anderson's Lodge property has been developed with a tourist outfitters establishment. Jody Morris property has been developed with a single detached dwelling, and Jackie Duhamel's property has been developed with a single detached dwelling. The owners of the subject properties and their lawyer are applying for the easements to ensure that there is legal access established to all the existing properties and development. No new development is proposed. Staff have reviewed the proposal, including consulting the owner's lawyer to confirm the correct approach to applying the proposed easement to each of the lots to ensure that legal access is provided. The proposed easements are approximately 6 meters wide. The provincial planning statement is a document that guides development in the province of Ontario. All planning decisions must be consistent with the provincial planning statement. Resource-based recreational uses, including seasonal recreational dwellings and other uses, are included as permitted uses on rural lands. The subject properties are all considered rural lands. The existing uses on the subject properties are permitted in the context of the provincial planning statement. The proposed easements are to provide legal access to existing uses, and the proposed consent application is to facilitate this easement application. The proposed easements are required to provide legal access to the existing uses that are located on the subject properties. The proposed easements are technical in nature and will ensure that legal access to the existing properties and existing uses is provided. The official plan includes policies on granting consent for technical purposes when no new lots are created. The proposed consent application conforms to the official plan, and there are no changes required from the zoning bylaw perspective, and there are no new changes required from a zoning bylaw perspective on the subject properties.
Secretary Treasurer, were there any comments received for this application?
Yes, the application was circulated to the Ministry of Natural Resources, and they sent this comment. A portion of the road traverses Crown land managed by the Ministry of Natural Resources. I have attached a modified sketch showing Crown ownership. If the benefactors of these three consents have not already done so, they should enter into an agreement with the Crown for the maintenance of the portion of the road that crosses Crown land.
Do any of the committee members have site inspection reports they wish to present? Okay. Is there a presentation from the applicant or their agent? Okay. Are there any Are there any members of the public, keep going, in attendance who wish to speak on the application? I will now open the table up for discussion of the application by my committee members. Okay, Joe?
Now, if we approve the easement for this road, are they allowed to move the road at any time in the future, or are they locked into having the road in that exact location?
So this easement will be over an existing private road, and as part of the application, they submitted a size sketch of where they want to put the road. So in the future, if they want to move the road, they would have to go through this process.
Okay, so they would have to come back and ask for the easement to be changed?
Yeah, because they submitted size sketch as part of the process, as part of the application to show exactly where they want the road to be.
So it's not just an easement for a road, it's an easement for the road to be in that exact location.
Yes, that's correct.
Now I will open the floor for questions or comments. Okay. Check motion document. That one. I have to read.
Here's the motion that sent application.
I will now place the motion on the table that consent application C0-2025 Anderson's Lodge Limited, being an application to create and register access easements over abutting properties on an existing private road to provide legal access to the subject lands be approved, subject to the recommended conditions of provisional consent. Keep going. If the Committee of Adjustment chooses to approve consent application C03-2025 Anderson's Lodge Limited to permit access easements, the following conditions are recommended to be included in the provisional approval. That the following documents must be provided for the transaction: the original executed transfer deed form, a duplicate original, and one photocopy for our records. B, a schedule to the transfer deed form of which is set out the entire legal description of the parcel in question, and a reference plan of survey which bears the land titles office registration number and signature as evidence of its deposit therein, illustrating the easement and/or parcel to which the consent approval relates. It is recommended that a draft reference plan of survey be provided to municipal staff for review prior to being deposited at the land registry office. That the applicant provides confirmation to the municipality that the easement has been registered as per the drawings submitted. So we have a motion on the floor.
Need a mover.
We need can I get a mover? Luke? And a seconder? Roger? Okay. We have a so
To vote on.
okay, we have a motion on the floor for the specific found in the motion document. All in favor? Okay, carried.
Now we have to do
This,
the
that one.
consent motion for the next one, right?
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah.
read it again. Read that one. Okay.
There's three, right?
I will, do I have to read that? I will now place the motion again. Okay. I will now place the motion on the table that consent application C04-2025 Jody Moran, being an application to create and register access easements over abutting properties on an existing private road to provide legal access to the subject lands, be approved, subject to the recommended conditions of provisional consent. If the Committee of Adjustment chooses to approve consent application C04-2025 Jody Moran to permit access easements, the following conditions are recommended to be included in the provisional approval. That the following documents must be provided for the transaction: the original executed transfer deed form, a duplicate original, and one photocopy for our records. A schedule to the transfer deed form of which is set out the entire legal description of the parcel in question, and a reference plan of survey which bears the land titles office registration number and signature as evidence of its deposit therein, illustrating the easement and/or parcel to which the consent approval relates. It is recommended that a draft reference plan of survey be provided to municipal staff for review prior to being deposited at the land registry office, and that the applicant provides confirmation to the municipality that the easement has been registered as per the drawings submitted. I will now place the motion on the table that application C04-2025 be,
Mover.
can we have a mover? A Luke and a seconder. Roger? Okay. And then all in favor? Excellent.
We have one more, so the
Okay.
Jackie do have one.
Okay, I'll now place the motion on the table that consent application C05-2025 Jacqueline Duhamel, being an application to create and register access easement over an abutting property on an existing private road to provide legal access to the subject lands, be approved, subject to the recommended conditions of provisional consent. If the Committee of Adjustment chooses to approve consent application C05-2025 Jacqueline Duhamel to permit an access easement, the following conditions are recommended to be included in the provisional approval. That the following documents must be provided for the transaction: the original executed transfer deed form, a duplicate original, and one photocopy for our records. A schedule for the transfer deed form, of which is set out the entire legal description of the parcel in question, and a reference plan of survey which bears the land titles office registration number and signature as evidence of its deposit therein, illustrating the easement and/or parcel to which the consent approval relates. It is recommended that a draft reference plan of survey be provided to municipal staff for review prior to being deposited at the land registry office, and that the applicant provides confirmation to the municipality that the easement has been registered as per the drawings submitted. Could I have a mover, please? Luke, and a seconder, Roger, and then all in favor? Okay, if approved, we notice of decision.
Page number 4,
Hmm,
page 5.
page 4. Okay, the minor variance?
No, the consent, your CO6. So Joe.
Yeah, you have to leave because we're gonna do
Oh,
the next.
oh, we're doing,
Yeah.
okay,
CO6.
gotcha.
Okay.
Okay,
So you just have to
sure.
decide,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
once you hear us talk, come back
Okay.
in. Okay. So do I have to go back and read the consent is this a consent application? Yes. So do I have to read the consent application? Yeah, okay, so. So I just have to read this part here. Okay, so. Do I start with this, the consent application, like this, the motion?
On the page 4.
Or
Yeah.
go back to 4, okay, yeah.
Okay.
Presentation of application thing, just read the red part and then open will present that.
Okay, so a consent application, the committee will hear comments and evaluate written submissions. The committee makes the final decision. There is a 20-day appeal period from the date of the notice of decision. The applicant, minister, or a specific person or a public body may appeal the decision and/or any condition imposed by filing a notice of appeal accompanied by the required fee to the municipal clerk. If the appeal will be forwarded to the Ontario Land Tribunal for review. The first application we have before us is consent application 0625 Alan Pizzio, being an application to create one new lot on the subject land be approved subject to the recommended conditions of provisional consent. That the following documents must be provided. Should I be reading that? No? Okay. I'll read up here, over there.
The CO6 one. It's also
Oh.
from anywhere. CO6.
Okay. Consent application CO625 received from Alan Pizzio for the subject lands known as 40 Lincoln Street and 1-37 Lincoln Street. The consent application proposes a recreation of one new severed lot and one retained lot on the subject lands of a total of 2 lots. This would recreate the previous lot outlined that existed prior to the lots inadvertently being merged. Secretary Treasurer, could you present the application to the committee?
An application for consent has been submitted by Paula Pizio on behalf of Alan Pizio to recreate one new lot and one retained lot for a total of 2 lots on the subject lands located at 1 to 37 Lincoln Street and 40 Lincoln Street. It is our understanding that the subject lands are comprised of lots that have inadvertently merged on title due to Section 50 of the Planning Act and the lots not being located on a plan of subdivision. The subject lands have an approximate lot area of 11.6 hectares and a lot frontage of 237 meters on Abraham Lake. The existing uses on the subject lands include a mobile home park, which is accessed by internal roads. There is also one single detached dwelling and other accessory buildings and structures located on the subject lands. Based on the application and sketch submitted, the proposed lot statistics are: for the severed lots, which will be 1 to 37 Lincoln Street, it has a lot area of 45,150 square meters and a lot frontage of 15 meters on Abraham Lake. And the retained lot, which will be 40 Lincoln Street, will have a lot area of 57,150 square meters and 230 meters on Abraham Lake. The subject lands are located in the grading area and are delimited rural residential in the official plan and located within the residential mobile home zone in the zoning bylaw. All plan decisions must be consistent with the provincial planning statement. The subject lands are considered rural lands in the context of the provincial planning statement. The existing uses on the subject lands, including the mobile home park, are permitted uses in the context of the provincial planning statement. On rural lands, the provincial planning statement encourages development that can be sustained by rural service levels. The existing mobile home park on the proposed severed lot will continue to be serviced by a private communal sewage and water service. The existing single detached dwelling on the proposed retained lot will be serviced by an individual on-site sewage system, and water is provided by the existing private communal water service from the proposed severed lot, which contains the mobile home park. An agreement will be required to be registered on title that addresses the water service and agreement. An agreement will be required to be registered on title that addresses the water services on the proposed retained lot so that future owners are aware of this shared water service. The proposed services are permitted in accordance with the provincial planning statement. The proposed consent application is consistent with the provincial planning statement. The subject lands are located in the grading area and are designated rural residential in the official plan. The permitted uses in the rural residential designation include single detached dwellings. The existing mobile home on the proposed severed lot is to be considered a legal non-conforming use. Limited lot creation is permitted in the rural residential designation, provided it conforms to the policies of the official plan. The existing sewage and water servicing are permitted in the official plan. The proposed lot recreation conforms to the official plan policies on land division and consent. The subject lands are located within the residential mobile home zone. The permitted uses in the residential mobile home zone include a mobile home park and mobile home dwellings. The proposed separate lot does not meet the minimum lot area and lot frontage requirements for the residential mobile home zone. A zoning bylaw amendment is recommended as a provisional condition to require the severed lot to be rezoned to recognize the proposed lot area and lot frontage. Furthermore, the proposed retained lot no longer form part of the existing mobile home park, and therefore the residential mobile home zone is no longer appropriate or applicable to the retained lot. The proposed retaining lot is required to be rezoned from residential mobile home to the residential shoreline zone to recognize the existing single detached dwelling on a property that has frontage on Abraham Lake.
Secretary Treasurer, were there any comments received for this application?
The application was submitted to other government agencies and MNR indicated that they have no comment.
Do we have any committee members have site inspection reports they wish to present?
I just want a question. Okay, the one we're voting on is lot one, that's the one with, has access to the lake?
So if this consent is approved, both lots will have direct access to the lake.
Okay, so that's this diagram here. We have access here, no, but here, but lot one has access here.
Yeah.
Is this what we're voting here?
So these two lots have merged and what we are doing is recreating them.
Yeah, but this is the diagram here.
Yeah.
Okay. Because we have this one here, right? Okay.
Is there a presentation from the applicant or their agent?
Only to answer any questions regarding the application.
Are there any members of the public in attendance who wish to speak on the application? No. Okay, I will now open the table up for discussion of the application by my committee members.
I already did one.
Yeah, that's it. Okay, I will now open the floor for questions or comments. I will now place the motion on the table. So the consent application C06 2025 Alan Piziel is being an applicant to create one new lot on the subject lands be approved subject to the recommendation conditions of provisional consent. That the following documents must be provided for the transaction: the original executed transfer deed form, the duplicate original, and one photocopy for our records. B, a schedule of the transfer deed form, which sets out the entire legal description of the parcel in question. C, a reference plan of survey that bears the land titles office registration number and the signature as evidence of its deposit therewithin, illustrating the parcel to which the consent approval relates. And the owner obtains approval of a zoning bylaw amendment for the following. 1, to rezone the proposed severed lot to recognize the reduced lot area and the lot frontage in the RMH zone, and to rezone the proposed retained lot to the RS zone to recognize the existing shoreline residential use. That the owner obtain an access easement or alternative agreement to demonstrate legal access for the proposed retained lot to the satisfactory of the municipality. That the owner enter into an agreement that is registered on title that clearly outlines the proposed retained lot that shares water services with the proposed severed lot through the existing communal water service. Do we have a mover?
Sorry.
Want to ask a question?
We just back up. Okay, this diagram here, right, this map here that we just looked at, I just noticed it seems to include the road allowance right here.
Yeah, one thing about these maps is that they're always off. So what they'll do is, if this consent is approved, they'll have to retain a surveyor to actually survey the boundary of their property. So these maps that are included here are mostly for illustration purposes and not entirely accurate, because most of the third-party information that we use for these maps are not always accurate.
Yeah, but when we're voting here, this here will not include the road allowance.
No, it won't.
Okay. Okay,
Do we have a mover? A seconder? All in favor? So it's carried.
What shows
Okay,
it?
so
Shows it here.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, it doesn't show it there.
Statement in the notice of decision.
so where is that in here?
Of the
Page.
notice of decision. Yeah. Just the two months. Appeal state. No, it's like so it's the say.
Okay, so where is, do you know where the notice for decision is?
Yeah, all the, that's there.
Zero six.
Planning report. Right.
See?
Notice of decision there.
Then six.
6 is, I put it right there.
There.
Okay. So we have to read this
Okay.
whole.
Yeah, go ahead.
There's an appeal statement in there.
There's an appeal statement.
So right here, this right here. Okay. Appeal. The last date for filing a notice of appeal for this decision is the 22nd of June, 2025. 20 days from the date of the notice of decision is provided to the applicant. Take notice that an appeal to the Ontario Land Tribunal in respect to all and part of this consent may be made by filing notice of appeal to the Secretary Treasurer of the Committee of Adjustment, either via Ontario Land Tribunal e-file service. First-time users will need to register for My Ontario account at, do I need to read the whole address?
No.
Okay. By selecting Sioux Lookout Municipality Clerk, Secretary, Treasurer as the approval authority. Alternatively, you may submit an appeal to the Secretary, Treasurer in person or by registered mail courier addressed to the Secretary, Treasurer, Municipality of Sioux Lookout. Attention, Bright Opire. Post Office Box 158, 25 Fifth Avenue, Sioux Lookout, Ontario, P8T 1A4, no later than 4:30 PM on the 22nd of June, 2025. The filing of an appeal after 4:30 PM in person or electronically will be deemed to have been received the next business day. The appeal fee is $1,100 and can be paid online through e-file or by certified check, money ordered to the Minister of Finance, Province of Ontario. If you wish to appeal to the Ontario Land Tribunal, the OLT, or request a fee reduction for an appeal, forms are available from the OLT website at www.olt, Government of Ontario, Canada. If the e-file portal is down, you can submit your appeal to planning@siouxlookout.ca. And do we need to do the notice of change?
No.
No, okay.
Yeah.
So being back to the page 4.
Do the next one. You want to receive that? Let's see, receive that. Okay. Mhm. We're doing the minor. Okay. These ones are done.
So
And this one is.
we have a minor variance, right? That's the next one. A minor variance, the committee will hear comments and evaluate written submissions. The committee makes the final decision. There is a 20-day appeal period from the date of the decision. The applicant, minister, or a specified person or public body that has an interest in the matter may appeal the decision made by the committee by filing a notice of appeal in writing to the Secretary Treasurer of the committee and attaching the fee required for the appeal. The appeal will be forwarded to the Ontario Land Tribunal for review. The application, the application we have before us is that The proposed
Oh, do we have to read up here? I think that.
Okay.
Yeah.
the minor, a minor variance, application number M01-2025, received from Ben Cohen on behalf of Sioux Hotel Investment Corporation for the subject lands locally known as 10 Sturgeon River Road to seek relief from the rear yard setback and the minimum parking space requirements for a proposed hotel development. Could you, Secretary Treasurer, could you please present the application to the committee?
An application for a minor variance has been submitted by Ben Cohen on behalf of Sioux Hotel Investment Corporation for the subject property locally known as 10 Sturgeon River Road. The subject property has a lot area of approximately 6,125 square meters and a road frontage of 109 meters on Sturgeon River Road. The purpose of the minor variance application is to permit a reduced rear yard setback of 5 meters, whereas the zoning bylaw requires a minimum rear yard setback of 10 meters, and a reduced number of 52 parking spaces, whereas the zoning bylaw requires a minimum of 90 parking spaces for the proposed hotel development. The subject property is located within the urban Sioux settlement area and designated as highway commercial in the official plan. The subject property is located in the highway commercial zone in the zoning bylaw. The surrounding land uses are commercial and residential in nature, consisting of other hotel and hostel establishments and other single detached dwellings. The provincial planning statement is a provincial policy document that provides guidance on land use development across the province. All planning decisions must be consistent with the provincial planning statement. The subject property is located within the urban Sioux settlement area, which is a settlement area in the context of the provincial planning statement. The provincial planning statement directs that settlement areas shall be the focus of growth and development in municipalities. The proposed hotel development is within a settlement area, which will efficiently use land and existing municipal infrastructure and services. The provincial planning statement directs planning authorities to support local economic development. The proposed development will enhance Sioux Lookout's position as a tourist and service hub by providing accommodation options to the traveling public. The subject property is adjacent to the Pelican River wetland system, which is a provincially significant wetland. The provincial plan statement directs that development shall be restricted near sensitive surface water features. The proposed development is subject to a site plan control process. The applicant has been directed to undertake a study to assess the impact of the proposed hotel development on the adjacent wetland. The environmental study will be reviewed during the site plan control process, and mitigation measures, if required, can be based on the detailed design of the proposed hotel development. The proposed variances are consistent with the provincial planning statement. In reviewing a minor variance application, the committee needs to be satisfied that a proposal is in keeping with the four tests as set out in the Planning Act. 1. Is the variance in keeping with the intent of the official plan? The subject property is designated as highway commercial in the official plan and is located in the urban Sioux settlement area. It is the intent of the official plan to focus growth and development within the urban Sioux settlement area. The proposed hotel development is located within the urban Sioux settlement area and will be connected to municipal water and sewage. Further, the highway commercial designation area provides land for development of commercial uses to cater to the traveling public and residents that require larger land areas for development. Accommodation uses are permitted in the highway commercial designation. The proposed hotel is an accommodation use and as such is permitted use in the highway commercial designation. The official plan recommends evaluation of the impact of a major development on parking requirements. The applicant included a justification letter issued by DGH Engineering Limited, which concluded that based on the anticipated operating volumes, anywhere between 37 to 47 parking spaces will meet the parking needs of the proposed hotel. The applicant has also taken the following actions to remediate possible future parking overflow. One, the applicant has entered into an agreement with the abandoned hostel owner to utilize 10 parking spaces should the need arise. And also, the applicant has initiated the process to potentially purchase the abandoned municipal lands. The applicant submitted an updated site plan, including the municipal lands, which will provide an additional 45 parking spaces, which will increase the total parking spaces from 52 to 97 parking spaces. It must be noted that this number hasn't been approved yet through the site plan control process. The official plan requires all new development in the urban Sioux settlement area to be connected to municipal water and sewers where available. The proposed development will be connected to municipal water and sewer. The proposed variances are in keeping with the intent of the official plan. And then 2, is the variance in keeping with the intent of the zoning bylaw. The subject property is located in the highway commercial zone. The proposed development meets all the requirements for the highway commercial zone, except the minimum rear yard setback requirements. The zoning bylaw requires a minimum of 10 meters rear yard setback. The subject property's rear yard is to the south of the proposed hotel building. The immediate abutting lands to the south are significantly treed and on higher elevations. The proposed reduced rear yard is not anticipated to adversely impact the abutting land uses. The zoning bylaw requires 1 parking space per room and 1 parking space per 10 square meters of gross floor area devoted to public uses for a hotel development. There is 200 square meters dedicated to public uses, which include a conference room, an eating area, and a lobby in the proposed hotel building. A total of 70 parking spaces are required for the hotel rooms, in addition to 20 parking spaces required for the dedicated public use space. The applicant has taken the following steps to address any future parking overflow. The applicant has entered into an agreement with the abandoned hostel owner to utilize 10 parking spaces from their parking lot should the need arise. Also, the applicant has initiated a process to potentially purchase the abutting municipal lands to the east to provide additional parking. The proposed variances are in keeping with the intent of the zoning bylaw. And then 3, would the variance provide for a desirable development of the land? The subject property is designated highway commercial in the official plan and located highway commercial in the zoning bylaw. A hotel is a permitted use in the highway commercial designation as well as the highway commercial zone. The proposed hotel is similar to surrounding land uses and in keeping with the character of the area. The proposed development is desirable. 4, is the variance minor? Based on the review of the 3 other tests of a minor variance, the variance is minor on the basis that the proposed variance will permit a hotel which is similar to surrounding uses. Justification has been provided for the reduced parking spaces, and the municipality has recommended further steps to accommodate potential overflow in likely limited scenarios.
Okay. Secretary Treasurer, were there any comments received for this application?
Yes. So we received a comment from Jade Shirela through email, and it's as follows. I am writing in regard to the application for a minor variance that includes a proposed reduction in the minimum rear yard setback from 10 meters to 5 meters. As a nearby resident who will be directly impacted, I would like to ask whether the developers plan to implement any form of privacy or security barrier, example, fencing, landscaping, or other buffers at the rear of the property to mitigate the impact of the reduced setback. Our area is already experiencing challenges with unwanted foot traffic and visitors cutting through private property. And I am concerned with the substantial bill that the reduced rear yard setback may worsen this issue. I appreciate the efforts to improve development in our community, but I respectfully request that these privacy and safety concerns be addressed in the project plan. This comment was circulated to the developer and they also submitted a response. Our commitment is to provide a 6-foot high wooden fence on the property adjacent to any residential uses, much as we did when we developed the dollar store and more projects on Alcona Drive. In that case, we erected a fence between the commercial building and the adjacent house to provide separation and privacy. It is our undertaking to provide a similar fence of the same quality. We would erect the fence once the parking lot is paved and prior to the hotel opening. Another comment was also received from Mr. William George through email, and it's as follows. As a follow-up to our conversation yesterday, here is my question. The hotel is proposing 70 suites and would like to reduce the parking from 90 to 50 to a reduction of 38. In our conversation, you have stated that the client has an agreement with the hostel to next door to use 10 parking spaces, and there is some municipal land to the east available for additional parking spots. As I have said, Sturgeon River Road is very busy at the start of the road with the 2 hostels and all the vehicles in and out. I hope the municipality will post or make sure there is no parking on Sturgeon River Road past this area, as there are no lights, and as I have said, it is very busy. The Sturgeon River Road is busy, as not only do the residents use this road, but also the residents of Sturgeon Meadow, Tower Hill Road, Lincoln Trailer Park, and Drayton Road residents. It is a very busy intersection. I hope in the interest of everyone, the town makes sure the parking issue is resolved before there is a work permit issued for this project. I understand it is a valuable project for our area, but safety is a higher priority for the existing residents of the area. Then another comment was received from Christopher Dubroy via email, and it's as follows. I am emailing you in regard of the new proposed hotel being built in town. I am neither against it or for it. My main concern is, why is it these investors always want to build a hotel? Why can't this town get a new supermarket, a new grocery store, and that goes for the same as hardware store? Why does this town have to have one of each? This town certainly has the population now to support it, and this grocery store has been in operation in this town for over 50 years. They got this town by the neck, more or less. If you want the food, you got to pay the price of the stuff, and that's the same for the hardware store. You want your supplies, you got to pay the price. And why can't this town have some selection for a change? Have new businesses in town, have a new grocery store in town where the price is going to be more competitive. Not everybody has the options of going to Dryden or out of town to shop. As a person who was born and raised in this town and seen the good side of this town, come to what it is today, it's really depressing. This town grew up with the railroad, the radar base, the woodlands, and now it's more or less native office buildings everywhere, which is really disappointing for this town. So I just don't understand why there can't be more stores, as in grocery stores and hardware stores in this community. And then also this application was circulated to MNR and they indicated that they have no comments or concerns. And then the application was also circulated to the Minister of Transportation and they sent in a correspondence. And I read. The ministry has no objection to the construction of the 70-suite hotel being proposed or to the minor variance request. There will be no requirement for a building and land use application for any of the construction on this property, as it is currently out of MTO's permit control area, according to the Public Transportation and Highway Improvement Act. No direct access is required. The applicant will be required to apply for a sign permit if any of their signage on this property is visible from the highway.
Do any of the committee members have any site inspection reports they wish to present? Okay.
Get to it.
I think that'll come in a minute.
Okay.
Is there a presentation from the applicant or their agent? Are there any members of the public in attendance who wish to speak on the application? I now open the table up for discussion of the application by my committee members.
Do you have a question?
Roger, you had a question?
Okay, so, they're supposed to have 90 parking spaces, right? And they've got 52, possibly 10 with the lease agreement next door, right? So that's 62. So they're still short 28.
Yes, that's correct.
And they say, okay, if they need, they'll expand with land from the municipality. Is that a reality? Could that happen or not?
Yeah, so last month's council meeting, that was brought to council in the closed session, and they've agreed to basically negotiate with the property owner to purchase that land. So he has accepted the asking price, so we'll be coming to council this coming month.
Sorry, did they accept the,
Yeah, so the developers accepted the asking price,
okay?
and I'll be bringing a report to this month's council meeting for the actual land sale and transfer.
So they've agreed, but that doesn't mean they're gonna move forward, right?
Well, I think through this process they will, but yeah, I mean, through our site plan control, if they're. Yeah, the intention is for them to move forward. I mean, I guess if this gets approved, I guess perhaps not. But I feel, as I understand it, they will move forward to get that extra part.
My concern is, okay, so that we proceed with what's existing, the land is available, so what's the trigger that's gonna force them to expand, you know what I mean?
They seem eager to comply with the parking regulations. I mean, it makes sense if, you know, they can't park in the street and the hostel parking may end one day. So they're gonna need that overflow parking at some time.
Okay,
So do we have a written offer from them? Like a legal offer?
We have a verbal offer. We have to we're working through the legal part of it right now.
But like Roger said, if we approve this right now, saying that they don't have to go with, they can be this many short, this legally says they don't have to do anything, right?
That's, yeah, that is true, yes.
can that not be added in a condition?
The fear is, so this, like, based on their new site plan, they're gonna have more than enough parking, but the topography of the site might not support additional 45 spaces. It might support, 35 spaces, which would maybe bring them a little bit shy. So I guess the fear is if we say no here now, then now they're at 87 spaces instead of 90 because of the topography of the site, then they would have to come back.
So are we,
I mean, a couple of spaces, no big deal, my,
No,
but 28.
no, this, like I say, from a staff perspective, this was a hard process to go through because, yeah, how do you as staff come and say, we want you to approve a reduction of 28 spaces and to parking spaces, the number of spaces less than the actual rooms in the hotel, it's hard to justify. So they did provide the justification report. And there is validity to it, and they did get the extra 10 spaces, but again, with this extra municipal land that they can purchase, it should satisfy, but you're right, I mean, ideally, they don't renege on what they've kind of agreed to do.
so what do we have to protect us that they're not gonna renege? Nothing? So if
I
we,
guess through our site, we haven't started the site plan control, I mean, in essence, if they, I guess, I don't know, they could, yes, say if we approve 52 spaces, they could say, yeah, we're just gonna stick with this.
Maybe we don't approve this until they buy that piece of property.
can we do that? Would that be problematic?
I don't wanna,
Like it's sort of the cart and the horse, like,
Yeah,
they need the approval to know that they can build this many rooms. And we sort of need the commitment that they're gonna buy the additional parking space.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's a tough decision right now. Unfortunately, the original concept of the hotel was 56 rooms and it was a smaller footprint. So that size of property fit the necessary parking and fit everything. With the increase in size that kind of occurred this year, you know, it's kind of put that bit of a hiccup.
I mean, to me, it could be something worded. I mean, they've agreed, you said, to the cost of the additional parking space. So they've agreed to that. So,
Perhaps can we do a condition on the concern, the minor variance so there to?
Yes, so
Additional.
the,
Mhm.
our options are limited, very limited, compared to, the conditions that we include in consent application. Our options are very limited in this case.
So what recourse would we have if we approve this and they refuse to buy the additional land? Do we have any recourse to go back? Because the legitimate fear
Yeah.
is they're parking on the road and that is a
No,
legitimate.
that's something we have to
Yeah.
avoid, absolutely. Potentially we could look at approving, you know, upwards of 80 spaces. And then, you know, and then with this, then that kind of forces him to purchase that land in essence. And then if, like I say, like in my mind, I don't think they can get 45 spaces in that area, just based again on the topography. They do have TBT coming to site next week and this DGH Engineering is working with them for the site plan. So perhaps a permission for, instead of 52 spaces, 80 spaces, then that kind of requires that they purchase that land and that gives them some flexibility. So then if they can only get 88, you know, they've still met the requirement.
Yeah, that sounds reasonable.
Mhm. Mhm.
Can we do that?
Yeah, we can amend the notice of decision to include that. So instead of a reduced, do you have the notice of decision?
Notice of decision, notice of
and
decision.
the town property is being
Yeah.
priced.
So instead of
You know,
the reduced 52 parking spaces, you can
Yes.
force it out and just write 80.
80.
Okay.
Okay.
and in that too, just so you know too, we didn't sell, there's a road allowance between the residential properties in this area that we didn't include in the sale. So there will still be a 6-meter buffer of road allowance as well.
That's the houses on the hill. And
Yeah, well, the houses on the hill, it isn't because of the elevation change, but up there, I don't know if you noticed on the site plan, if you guys have it.
Yep.
You can see how it kind of drops in like this. It goes like this. This area isn't being sold. This area was sold to support the hotel itself. So this is all treed in here.
Oh, okay. And he's already agreed to build a fence. Now, is
Yeah.
that in the
Can-
rules?
Here.
That he has to build the fence?
This is an actual.
No.
So we can,
But it should be extended all the way
Just to help.
if he buys that.
It's just.
where's the road?
Well, he said
Fence.
because
road.
Focus to the road.
So
Okay.
this was a road
He on the
here,
other side.
of this part.
Is
Like those are the lots that are elevated way up. These are the lots that'll be closer to kind of getting elevation.
Okay, so on.
Yeah, I changed to 80.
Oh, we're gonna go with the 88 or
80,
80. Okay.
because it's enough that he has to purchase the land, but not enough that if he can't develop the entire land, that he's in trouble, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
It gives him some freedom and it gives us some clarity.
Flexibility.
Yeah.
Okay. We did that, comments, we're done that. I will now place the motion, nope,
Sorry, I mean, if he does provide the 80 with the land that they purchased and then the buffer, the 10 would make the 90 when they lease, if they lease from
Yeah.
they
adjoining.
wouldn't need that, or would they?
I'm just saying that would give them the 10 to bring them to 90.
Lease is,
Right, right,
but the lease could be pulled at any time. That's.
yeah.
Yeah. No, but I'm just saying.
Yeah.
There's a,
Yes, he has ample parking.
yeah.
Motion document, okay. I will now place the motion on the table that the proposed variance M one 2025 is minor in nature, are in keeping with the general intent and purpose of the municipality's official plan and zoning bylaw, and are desirable for the appropriate development and use of the land. Based on a review of the four tests of a minor variance, it is our recommendation that the proposed variance is minor in nature, is in keeping with the general intent and purpose of the municipality's official plan and zoning bylaw, and is desirable for the appropriate development and use of the land. Based on our review of the minor variance application, it would appear that the four tests of a minor variance have been met. It is recommended that a minor variance be approved to permit a reduced rear yard of 5 meters and reduced parking space provision of 80 spaces, subject to the following conditions: that the variance only applies to the proposed development showed on the submitted drawings, subject to minor revisions that provide a minimum rear yard of 5 meters and a minimum of, I'll change that to 80 parking spaces again. 80 parking spaces, and that any future development of the lands be subject to the zoning bylaw. Okay, we have a motion, we need a mover. Right,
And second.
and Joan will second, and all in favor? Okay, and it's carried. Okay, it's approved. The application's approved. Can we proceed then to old business?
Okay.
Is there any old business to attend to?
That's not.
Secretary Treasurer, is there any new business the committee should be aware of?
That's not.
Okay, there is a motion on the table to adjourn today's meeting. Can I get a mover? Roger. And a seconder? Luke? All in favor? Carried. We have a motion on the floor that the Committee of Adjustment Consent Granting Authority meeting of June the 2nd be adjourned at time 6:09 PM. All in favor? And it's carried. Thank you.